minds, bodies, spirits.
Yes. Amen to that. Oh my God. Yeah, it's so funny. And actually, what's looking at me right now is this, which is my thinking is peaceful and calm and centered. And it's because what we were talking about before, right, is, and what we're talking about right now. Oh, hey, everybody on Facebook. What we're talking about is all month long pain and inflammation, right? In terms of what is it? How do we deal with it? Where is it coming from, right? What are the solutions? And what we're talking about tonight is the mind body connection, right? That energetic role, that spiritual role in pain, in chronic pain, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's a lot of it right now in the world, right? I mean, more than when we chatted last time, there is so much that's up in the world. And, one of the things that we're here for is just to offer kindness and compassion and how, in some ways, how to be with pain, because it's wisdom, it's information, it's guidance. It can be lots of things. And, I think one of the negative spirals that can happen to us humans is when we ignore or deny or are mean or wish it would just go away, which of course is like so natural and part of that process. And we really want to just chat and also just offer some other perspective shifts so we can be with and ultimately not feel more pain than is not suffer, right? Not suffer.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh my God. That's exactly it, right? Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. A freaking man, sister. That is so true. That's so true. And it's very interesting, right? Because pain is an experience. Pain is a behavioral reaction to other stuff, right? So it's just kind of crazy. Like we have a lot of control, a lot more control over that affect, right, than I think that we think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of that, I'm just thinking, as a, body centered person is, from a, when I was doing hands on work, as a massage therapist and, other ways of just connecting people with their bodies, is that it's, when we were, saying earlier, a little pre call, like contraction, like when we're in pain, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. I mean, if you, bang your knee on a coffee table, like it's all supposed to be there. It's, I mean, just going back to, I think massage school, actually, when we were learning about pain and like, just that when you put your hand near a hot stove and you get that signal and you go back away, that's a really smart mechanism to have, right? But sometimes stuff happens, and that on a physiological and probably every level, right? There's a contraction that happens. And when we can be with that and not judge it, that's part of where suffering comes in. When we're like, oh, I should be perfect, or I need to fix, or there's something again wrong with me. And it's information, it's data, it's feedback. And how can we be with, just like, I mean, we're both moms, right? And you all moms out there, dads, parents, like, or someone that you love when they're in pain, like, how are you with them? How are you with them? You be with them, right? You don't like, get over it. What's wrong with you? And so how can we do that for ourselves?
For ourselves, right? Yeah, exactly. I love that because we were, first of all, I see, hi Shannon, hi Sandy is tuning in with us. Let us know if you have any questions. But I think it's really important because I think what's really underlying seems to be becoming an underlying theme as we talk about pain and inflammation and how we manage this and how we deal with this is the fact that we need to start taking care of ourselves, right? And I hate to even say that and to say like, oh, you should take better care of yourself, because like even that is like, well, yeah, dummy, if that were that easy, like I'd be doing it already, right? It doesn't always feel that easy. And what it is, you need to be nurtured, right? We need to be nurtured. I need to be nurtured, right? And mothered and loved and all of that stuff. And we need to learn how to provide that for ourselves, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that example of like a little kid, or like treating your pain like a little kid, whatever, whether it's, like you bumped your knee on the coffee table, or you were in a car accident, or somebody like hurt your heart,
Yeah.
or you just read or saw, like, who isn't experiencing that, like in the news, or just, there's so much pain that's kind of up. And how can we just put ourselves in that place, within that mind body connection
Mm.
of, like, what is the energy that I bring, like what is the stance that I have, when somebody that I love, or with a little kid, like, what's going on, like we're soft, we're nurturing, we want to help, we want to soothe. And it's, we can translate that to ourselves, that nurturing, right? Like we
Yeah.
all have that capacity, everybody, it doesn't matter what gender, age, anything, like we all have that capacity built in.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I love the fact what you're saying too, which I think is really important. What we started talking about earlier, which was, I'm not trying to push it away, right? Not recognizing that pain, judging it. Because that's the thing. Like, what's the story? Linda Drawes would love this. She loves talking about this. Like, what is the story that you're telling yourself about this pain, right? And what kind of judgments do you have around this pain? I actually just experienced this because, it's life is a journey, right? We're all going through ups and downs and stuff right now, including myself, like shit. So over the weekend, I found myself, I wasn't like full blown panic attack or anything. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like, quite to that extent, but I started just feeling those sensations of anxiety in my body, right? So I looked in and said, okay, there's that. What do I need to do right now? Do I need to get my essential oils? Do I need to do this? Do I need to, like, what is it that I need to do? And I stopped for a second. I thought, I need to just feel it. Like, I need to just recognize for myself that I have a lot going on, that there's a lot going on, that this is how I feel and this is why I feel it. And you know what? It went away. It went away. I didn't need a special, like solution, or, something. I didn't need something to fix me, right? I didn't need to be fixed.
Mm.
And sometimes that's how it is with pain, right? It's not so much that it has, you have to do it, but what is it asking for? What does it need, right? And what I think is really interesting when we talk about the mind body connection and pain is how emotions and experiences and traumas manifest their way in our bodies as physical ailments, as physical pain, right? Anxiety, I think, is a pretty easy one. I think we've all experienced, we all know that one. But if anybody, oops, excuse me, I got my phone here, so in case any questions come up. But yeah, so there's this book. Do I have it right here? I wish I did. By Louise Hay. I'm sure you know it. Heal Your Body, right? And the whole concept of this book is that there's a physical problem, right? Call it, or a problem, I should say, anxiety, back pain, this, that, whatever, inflammation, kidney stones, it's all there. It's a beautiful little manual that lays everything out. So it's an awesome chart, very organized. Here's the problem, right? In the next column, probable cause. So probable way that you are thinking that's resulting in that physical outcome or that behavioral reaction. And then it gives you a mantra to help you balance that emotion, to help you heal that pain. So what I showed you earlier is, and I don't know if it's backwards. Sometimes Facebook Live, I feel like reads things backwards.
I can read it.
Yeah, my thinking is peaceful, calm, and centered. So this is the one that came out from pain, from pain. So this is the mantra that we repeat. This is actually part we're doing a little what's it called, like subscription box. So this is for your little candle to go on to help with pain. So it's going along with our whole theme this month, kind of having that mantra to adapt. And I posted earlier, I think, or yesterday or whatever, it's all a blur, but I'd posted at some point just how the fact that an inflamed mind creates inflammation in the body. And people, if we don't have a bunch of inflamed minds out there right now, then I don't know what's going on, right? Like that's what's happening. We are inflamed as a freaking country, right? So what is then going to be the result of your body if you continue with those emotions and those feelings long term?
Yes. And those emotions and feelings that get stuck, right?
And
Like,
those are the
as
ones. Yeah.
those are the ones like emotion, energy and motion. I know that you have said this out loud on some, in some way to some person, some client. So for those of you that are listening, if that's like a new way to think about emotion, it's energy and motion. It's designed to move, and we're designed to feel it. We're designed to feel it. And, I'll speak from, I think a really important caveat is you got to feel safe. You got to feel safe within yourself or within a container, whether that be a good friend that's not going to fix you or judge you, is just going to listen and be with you, whether it's in a therapeutic container, whatever that space is for you to feel whatever it is. Sometimes it's different intensity, right? It's a different like volume dial.
Yeah.
If you have and the volume dial is really turned up a lot right now. And so I giggle, that's like a coping mechanism, right? Because it's sometimes just like I can't even wrap my mind body around it. So then I breathe, and then I just like look like, oh my goodness, we are on such a ride. And so the intensity level is really high, and like no pressure to feel what you don't feel, or to not want to, dive into some of what's coming up if you don't feel like you can let it out in a way that's constructive, that's for your benefit, right? It can get really, you want to be aware, and feel like you can let that energy move. Now, one of my favorite ways to move energy is through movement, and putting on a song and just like move, dancing angry or dance, and when I say, I'm putting it in air quotes, like just move your body in ways that feel good to you, feel whatever that is and put it through music and movement. It's not the only way. And it's sometimes a way where you don't even have to figure it out. You don't even have to get to the story of stuff. You can just let that energy move out of your body and feel lighter and feel freer and not have to get stuck and then contribute to more of that like pain and chronic pain and inflammation. And I've been dancing it out a lot. A lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of our birthrights, and anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
I think it's so important and very interesting too, because it brings up another thought, which is, that's very much like, if you're aware, right? If you're aware of those blockages, if you know where that energy is, but sometimes we're not, right? Sometimes I think people are we become so disconnected from our bodies that we don't even know like what's going on, where it is, or what's happening, right? And and that's when a lot of issues come up too, right? We're literally numb, like we've numbed ourselves. I know you say that a lot, right? Like helping people relax and not numbing, because there is, being that is like your thing, what's the difference between numbing and relaxing, if we talk about kind of how to get the body in the state that it needs to be for healing?
Yeah. So first, don't judge if you numb. So like no judgment, right? Because we're all doing the best we can. And, that's like there's like numbing, there's checking out, and then there's really restoration, like your example of like being aware that like anxiety and this and that. And so one restorative act is like you chose to be with it. So the part of you that sees it, the part of you that sees the pain from your knee that you just bumped onto the coffee table, or the part of you who notices that their heart is breaking, like that part of you is the bigger you, right? And that part of you can hold that bigger awareness. And that's when more of those restorative acts can happen. Like, all right, well, what do I need? Sometimes we just need to witness it. And then there is just numbing. And again, I find that, awareness is power. So if you're doing things to not feel, because you just can't, like it's too much, or you just don't have the kind of support, or you don't even know what to do with all of that you're feeling, just having that awareness that like, I am going to go eat all of these cookies, or I am going to eat, I'm going to drink all of these bottles, or I am going to, just hide under the covers and watch TV for 8 hours or whatever. Like there's a time and a place for all that, like compassion, compassion, compassion. We're all doing the best we can. We all have a journey, and it's not sustainable. Those behaviors, I mean, you can choose to do them your whole life. That is a choice you have for sure. It's not going to revitalize you and bring yourself back. And even if you're just in that place where you're like, I just don't know what to do, even if you can be aware that you're in that place, then the part of you that's being aware that you're numbing is more of an empowering stance to be in. And then the next step can be revealed as to like, well, what else could you do?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. It's perfect sense. And what I loved about how you presented that too is kind of like it's a continuum, right? It's not just like you're either here or you're there, but there is an in between. And you're not going to expect to jump right from numbing to, restoring, right? And being like, oh, right. There is going to be a time, like, and I love what you said about that awareness. That's that first step, right? That's that very, very first step, is to just sort of look in, right? What am I doing? And it's hard. And there's a lot of cognitive dissonance that comes up with that too, which can sometimes create some anxiety and stuff for people. Like, I'll just share for me, like, I drink way too much beer, I do. I'll say it, and I'm aware of it.
And look how powerful you are, because you're aware of it.
Oh, yes, I know. Yeah. But, like, I literally, like, I'll be like, oh, man, like, I know I should be doing something better for myself. Like, I know how this makes me feel. Not that it's like a ton, obviously, but, whatever. Either way, I know I recognize it's something that I'm doing to numb. And I'm just not ready to quit drinking. I say this like I'm not an alcoholic, I promise. Not that there is anything even, judgmental about that or by any means, but that's what happens, right? That's that cognitive dissonance. It's like, okay, I know I shouldn't, but this is where I am right now.
Yeah. And, and what you're speaking to, I mean, that's a perfect example. I mean, I've had my share of Cabernet, like food. I mean, there's so many ways to check out, and it's just having that awareness and that continuum, right? Like, it doesn't mean you have to all of a sudden not do that behavior. I mean, for some people, from what I understand of like some wiring in the body and the brain, like it needs to be all or nothing. For some people, like that's just how it must be for just their constitution. And regardless, compassion, compassion, compassion all day long. And sometimes it's just like for me, when I've like hit the wall and when I'm in like a numbing process, sometimes I don't know I am until I do. Right. So that's part of the continuum. Yeah. And then part of it is like, I've run out of tools. I mean, there's been a lot of times in my life where the tools in my toolbox, they're not cutting it. And something will just emerge where I get introduced to another tool or another way to like calm my nervous system that I didn't even know existed. And then I'm like, oh my God, I can feel better. Like I have hope. But I didn't know it existed until I did. And then sometimes it's support. Like for me, like Alyssa, it's like tools and support. It's tools and support. What tools do you have and what support do you have? And if you're in chronic numbing, which is chronic pain, essentially, then it means you need more tools or more support. Like and it might just be one tool. It might just be, or one conversation with somebody who loves you, not judgmentally. And that can like make a shift. There's tools and support. That's what it comes down to for me.
Thank you. I love that. And I love it because what we've been talking about in some of the other discussions on here so far is the fact that, it's a big theme. It's going to take multiple tools to manage the pain, to manage the inflammation, to bring your body out of disease and back into homeostasis, right? And what's the real point of our conversation tonight, what we really want everybody to take away is that one of those facets is your emotional well-being. It's how you're talking to yourself. It's how you're talking to your body. It's how you're treating your body. But what we're also saying to you is that it's not all going to change overnight. It's going to take time, and you're going to need some support and some tools, and that's okay. And we're saying, don't judge yourself. It's okay that things have gone the way that they are. You know, it's things are, everything happens for a reason, right? I choose to believe that. So, and that everything is a choice, right? It's all a choice. So, so I hope that something, you know, within this was helpful for everybody listening, whatever they're watching now. I know, Sandy, we have you on here. Oh, oh, I gotta catch up on Sandy here. Great. While I read these, Lisa, was there anything else that you wanted to leave everybody with?
Yeah, well, just to, riff off of the word choice, that sometimes when the world is so loud, of which it is, it can feel like, and I know I've experienced this a lot in my life, that it doesn't feel like I have a choice. It feels like there's no way out, and this is part of why I'm very body centered and I teach people about being body centered. I've had to make some choices recently about within phase 2 and certain things to do or not do. And it's really confusing, right? For all of us, it's really, or wherever you live. And I'm like, I'm going to trust my gut. I'm going to trust my gut. I'm going to use all 3 of my brains. I'm going to listen to my head. I'm going to discern what the thoughts are, what the policies are. I'm going to read stuff. I'm going to listen to stuff. I'm going to listen to my heart, and I'm going to listen to my gut. And that, like, just turning up that inner volume brings me back the choice, brings me back the choice to choose for myself, no matter what is happening. And inevitably, not everybody is going to agree with what I do. And oh, well, it's just like we all have to go through like life like that all the time. And just modeling, what is in our best interest. And only we know, only we really, really know. And we got to get out of our head long enough and drop into, like, that's really key. Yeah. And just like, where's your breath? Like, how do you, when you're considering this, like, are you breathing? Did you stop breathing? What does your gut say? What does the brain in your gut say? And that we do always have a choice. I didn't always know that. I didn't always believe that. And sometimes I forget, and then I just have to step back and then just tune in. Like, right, I do. Like, this is my life. This is my life. And I can choose. I can choose. You can choose.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, totally. It is such a, I could just go on and on. So I'll just stop my mouth now. So yeah, no, Sandy was just echoing the fact that it can be really hard to take care of ourselves, right, with a lot of stuff out there, and in light of what we talked about later, the numbing factor, right? Sometimes we do kind of go for those things, and then it does end up affecting us physically, which turns into kind of that vicious cycle, right? Yeah. And then Sandy also appreciated bringing to attention the fact that A to Z, right, making a change, it's not going to be right away. We're not going to just jump right into it. So I'm glad that you got something out of that. Oh, Deirdre popped on. Hi, Deirdre. Awesome. Well, we are just wrapping.
Great takeaways.
Yes, yes. So we're just wrapping up right now. So anybody popping in now or watching, we thank you for being present tonight. And please like and share this video and this post and this series that we're doing. Help us spread the word. We're trying to help people that are suffering from chronic pain and inflammation understand where it's coming from, understand that there are tools that you can use. And these apply for everything too. I mean, we're talking about inflammation, but it's really like it's that whole mind body connection and feeling good. So thank you, Lisa. Always so good to see you. All right.
You too.
Next week.
Okay.